Hello, my beautiful moon children, and welcome to March 2021. Very powerful month. I have a special fondness for March in the year and the shift through Pisces season into Aries season, and that dynamic of being in the watery ocean of existence and the ascended psychic self into embodying ourselves and with fresh perspective. And the equinox, which begins Aries season on March 20th, is this really great place of harmonizing and balancing. So I really love this as a month to reflect on how we've changed, how we've grown, how we've transformed, how in that shift of season and light that we've left behind who we've been, and we are becoming who we are becoming. And this is what I'll say for Cancer, the Cancer clan, as we head into March. This month has a lot of intensity when it comes to clarity and knowing, which I love because obviously you all have that innate knowing. It's one of your great strengths, is that you can tap into that knowing 100% of the time. Whether or not culture has trained you to distrust it, which is another question, and all of us have been trained to some extent to distrust our intuitive knowing about what feels right for us, and when we should push and when we should rest and all of that, right? And so it's always nice to be reaffirmed that you're allowed to trust what you're feeling at that deep gut level. This month really gives you, I think, some support in that way. There's like two fronts going on. On the one hand, Pisces season obviously is a really supportive season for Cancer moon children because this is all about the big vision. It's that fellow water energy trining you. There's a new moon trining you on the 13th. Mercury is in Pisces. On the 15th, the sun is moving through Pisces for the first 3 weeks of the month. This energy is just going to bolster you. It's going to help you see with clarity. It's going to help you get a little bit more of a sense of path and mission. This month also brings about some really good infusions of support for you on that path, because as we move into Aries season, Venus and the sun move into Aries together. We start a new season, and this season opens up what it is you're going to be working on, big projects, who you're going to be in the world, and how you're going to address that, connect with that. And finally, the other big thing I wanted to point out about this month for you is that Mars is very early on in the month, on the 3rd, moving into Gemini, your neighboring sign. And this is 12th house energy. This is very psychic energy. And Mars moving through the 12th house, it's kind of an odd combo. Mars is very direct and blunt and physical and like making things happen. And Pisces is obviously doing things behind the scenes, the energetic behind the scenes work. But here, this can make things connect to the physical very quickly. So where you are where your mind's eye is working, where your intuitive abilities are maybe working away, and you're finding those visions, they may be moving very quickly into the physical. So it's kind of a powerful placement in a way. And so there's a lot of this energy for you to take advantage of this month. Also, I want to mention that this month, all the planets are direct. So there's always a point in the year where there's no retrograde action. So we're not doing the review process, right? We're not going over details and integrating, which is an essential and big part of the year. Honestly, it's not just like a side note. It's happening at least half of the time we're doing some deep retrograde work, but this month is not that. So this month is also about forward vision. And for you, this month is all about accessing 6 of Pentacles, the mind's eye, all about accessing your inner world and seeing it connect with the external, which isn't that just the most satisfying thing? King of Pentacles, love it. Lots of stabilizing forces here for you in March, which I really love. There's been plenty of destabilization. But it's that connect, isn't it such a satisfying feeling when you're listening to your intuition, you're really listening to it, right? Like you're being really honest with yourself. You're letting yourself know when you need to like shift something or say no to something or rest or try, whatever the case may be. 5 of Swords. Okay, self-trust is coming up. Got to trust ourselves, right? How quickly the right answers come in to join you. So this is a really satisfying month in that way, I think. 7 of Swords. Okay. All right. So this is really interesting. And the bottom of the deck, I couldn't resist, is the Empress. So let's include her because I just saw her and it was like, okay, we got to include her in this conversation because this is really interesting. This is so interesting. It's actually a message that I didn't even see coming, but now that I'm thinking about it, I can see how when you're trusting your intuition and things are starting to work and stabilize and get under your feet and you're starting to be able to see and things are connecting, there is a disconnect between wanting to let yourself trust that and continuing to overly worry and distrust yourself and others and situations and get nervous, right? This is something that happens regularly in our path in life, I think. So let's just start off though, because I want to emphasize this. The first 2 cards that came out are very strong Pentacles cards. There's a balancing out going on here. So this 6 of Pentacles for me, yes, it's about even, give, and receive. So, just checking how you're feeling about your flow of energetic resources. Are you feeling like you're giving too much or too little? Maybe you want to figure out ways that you want to tweak that. On the practical level, absolutely. 6 of Pentacles is also about finding your center point though. And finding your center point and getting some stability under you when it comes to practical things. Your home environment, what you have around you, what's supporting you physically. 6 of Pentacles normally speaks to a stabilizing factor coming in here, which is really gorgeous. Totally valuable in this intense time. We also have the King of Pentacles, who is, if you think 6 of Pentacles is stabilizing, King of Pentacles is all about stability. That is his jam. He loves stability. He loves, investing and staying consistent and knowing the long game. And here's the thing with King of Pentacles. This is not about flash in the pan, momentary success, momentary stability, momentary knowing. This is about the long game. So this is a very important energy to remember. There are seeds being planted here that are going to sustain you for many months to come. There is energetic work going on here that is meant to stick with you. It's not just momentary. And I want you to take the time this month regularly to check in with this grounding frequency. This is not just about being grounded. This is also an innate knowing that you are held, that you are safe, that you have co-conspirators who are helping get the pieces put in order and stabilized and for you in the coming months and years. And this is really important. And I want to mention something else before we get into the next cards, which is that Jupiter and Saturn are still in Aquarius. And this is a really interesting placement for Cancers, especially if you're Cancer rising, because this is transformational energy. So you have a huge emphasis right now on how you're shifting in who you are in the world. And this can be a little overwhelming, right? Because you're learning new things about yourself every day. Now, with this stabilizing and with these opportunities coming in here on the practical in the real world, I often find this is where we have to trust ourselves the most. So 5 of Swords and 7 of Swords. These guys are both very worried and wary and nervous, and in different ways. One is kind of being sneaky here in the 5 of Swords. Well, they're both being sneaky. Let's be real. They're both sneaking off with swords, and they're both trying to do it stealthily. And you can't really tell, like, who's the villain and who's the good guy in this card, right? And I think that's because what this card always heralds to me is when we feel like we're getting away with something, when we feel like things are going a little too well, things are a little too quiet, maybe I'm skipping a step, maybe I'm not allowed to have this, maybe I need to just make myself do things in the old way, and therefore it'll be fine. And I often find that these cards come up when we are a little nervous to trust ourselves. We're a little nervous to trust that we're going to be okay, that we're going to be safe, that we're going to be held. These cards can also come up if we are not listening to ourselves and we're saying yes to things, and we're making ourselves go and do activities and make things happen, even when we know we don't have the energy, even when we know that it's actually really wearing us down, even when we know that it's something that we have to like force ourselves to pick up the phone and say, okay, yeah, I'll do that. What happens then, the more we're self-betraying in those ways, it's harder to trust other people, because we can't really tell you can't selectively shut down parts of yourself, right? And so if we shut down a part of ourselves that's saying, going on that walk with that friend every week is really draining my batteries. I need that couple extra hours back to just catch up with myself. I really want that, but I'm going to shut it down because I should want to go and I should want to have these conversations. What ends up happening is you have a hard time telling other people's intentions. You have a hard time telling who you can trust, because you're no longer accessing the voice that helps you understand that. And so the 5 of Swords, 7 of Swords here is, I think, here to address a couple of things. One, when we're growing, when opportunities are coming in, when we're getting acquainted with our newest self, and when things are going well and stabilizing, often our worried voice gets louder for a little bit, because it's looking around for the familiar script of stress. And when it's not there, that part of ourselves, it's a little anxious, it's a little worried, that wants to protect us, gets louder. And that's a very normal part of growing into another energetic phase in life. And it happens very regularly. The other side of it is to listen to yourself. Trust yourself. Don't feel like an imposter. Don't feel like you're not worthy. Don't feel like, and the thing is, this voice is going to come up, and that's fine. It's something you don't need to stress about or get worried that I'm showing you these cards and suddenly you're not going to be able to trust anybody. Everything's going to be shady. Things are going to be inconsistent. This is about just listening to your true self and not getting caught up and tangled in your anxious voice or in the world and what you think you need to worry about. Because here's the thing, the Empress really stuck out to me after those 2 Swords cards were pulled, which they're so funny. Those 2 Swords cards, imposter syndrome is so strong there with those. Empress is about the ease of life, the ease of creativity, the ease of beautiful things in life. She's about fertility and the flowers blooming and things being soft and warm. And she wants, whenever she shows up, it's a reminder that this is not a time for strife. This is a time for well-being. So, and like I said, sometimes when things start to go quite well, that's when our anxious voice gets the loudest. So I think it makes sense to me. You have all this physical support. You've got 3 very stabilizing cards and then 2 mentally anxious cards. So what does that tell us? It tells us that maybe things are going a little too well. Maybe I should stop dreaming. Maybe I should pull back. Maybe I should stop before I've lost what I already gained. But you have support. I'm pulling one final card from my Cosmic Tarot, and it already came out, which is the Ace of Swords. Clarity. Knowing. I love that. I think for me, I see these Swords cards, they're very messy. There's a lot of different, if you think of each of these swords as a different storyline or a different way of seeing the story, there's a lot of clutter. There's a lot of lack of clarity. And when I see the Ace of Swords, I see simplicity, which I suppose can feel maybe a little intimidating sometimes, because the Ace of Swords will clear the air. It will give you the clarity and the knowing that you need to move forward. But in this case, I really love it, because what I'm seeing here is the story is quite simple in March. It's quite simple. It's very clear. What you need to know, you probably already even know before March has even begun. If you're watching this a couple days before March begins, or even the early part of March, what you need to know, you probably already know, and it's probably working quite well for you. And the path is very simple. There are ingredients that nourish you and feed you, and there are opportunities that are coming in that nourish and feed you, and you want to follow those. And if you are feeling like commitments or situations are getting you tired, worried, frazzled, take a look at them. And when you feel like you're not allowed to trust your intuition and your inner knowing and your inner guidance system, let yourself trust it. Let yourself trust in this rich clarity. Because it is. It's very rich clarity for you all. It's kind of a wild reading because it's just so, like, what I see is just so simple and so clear. And I love it. Trust your inner vision. Trust your creative potency. Trust the simplicity. Trust yourself. It's important. You have a gift to have that knowing. So I want to just encourage you to enjoy it. Enjoy it, use it, have fun with it. So this March, I just want to wish you all so much love, so much support, so much clarity so that you don't have to worry too much. I hope that you feel relaxed and calm and that you are supported, that you're not alone in your dreams and your visions, that there are many energies behind you as well who are just as invested in seeing you succeed and grow, who are just as invested in your story. That it's not just you being selfish and wishing and desiring and hoping, that there's a lot of energy behind you that's also right there with you, and that it benefits everybody, and that this is a really powerful time for you. So just enjoy. I hope you have a beautiful March. I would love to see you to stick around here. If you want to like and subscribe, it means so much to me. It makes me so happy to see you all here. You can also find me on Patreon, where I'm doing a lot of extra support and guidance and help. So if you're looking for a little bit of extra support, I would love to see you over there. And you can also find me on my website and on Instagram. So I'll leave all of those links in the description so you know just where to find me. And you can also find PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry on her Etsy shop. And I will leave her link below as well. So I will see you all very soon. I love you so much, and take such good care this March.